Ooh, this is very cool. This is Crowland Abbey. Unfortunately, it has open days and I can't go inside. However, it's pretty cool. Where are the lights?
Up there. Look up there. So at night, this is all lit to the right.
Oh.
So it's all lit up at night.
Very, very nice. Crowland Abbey. Very nice. Reminds me of Whitby. So here we are having a little day trip to Crowland, which is not far from Spalding. Only took us about 15 minutes in the car. And this is Crowland Abbey. At this point, I don't know why all these bits are broken. I'll see if I can find something and I'll let you know. Maybe it's just age and it crumbled. I'm really not sure. Anyway, it's very beautiful and it's a lovely, peaceful little cemetery. So let's see if I can find out any information and then we'll go and explore some more of Crowland because I've heard there's a famous bridge we need to go and see. So I'll be back in a bit. So just looking around, and a lot of the graves are like late 1800s, early 1900s. But I've just come over here and seen this plaque, which is interesting. Hereward the Wake and his wife Torfrida are believed to have been laid to rest in this area in what was the North Transept during the 11th century. What kind of Torfrida? Is it Danish or something? I think they were Danes that came here. Anyway. That's not very informative, but I just thought it was very interesting and unusual. So this is the skull that we just read about outside. So what was the story, Fiona? Who was this chap and how did he die?
He was the first abbot of Crowland Abbey, and he died in the main nave, which is next door. And he was killed by Henry VIII's soldiers, and he had a sword put through his head.
And that there on the side, that's where the sword went in, is it?
Yes.
Wow.
That's where the sword went in.
Wow.
And he was kneeling and praying for peace at the time.
Wow.
And what year was this? Around the time of Henry VIII.
I tell you what, if we go back to the beginning of this, I videoed the outside and it will be on the bit of paper that I filmed out the front, so it'll be on there. So just rewind and we'll find out the date.
And anyway, I was going to say, have you bought the sheet?
Got our information sheet.
Is this Guthlac then?
No, this isn't Guthlac. Guthlac was the original chap that came here.
Guthlac had a sister who he brought here in the boat with him called Pagan. One of the bells there is called Pagan.
Oh, wow.
But he would not let his sister live with him because he became a hermit. So she opened a nunnery in Peacock, which is, I do believe, is still running.
Oh wow! And this bit that we're in up here, because we've come upstairs. What was this? You said this was the original space where the first abbot would live. And this is back when Crowland was originally an island, can you believe? And walk over and look out the window now. It's hard to believe it, but Crowland, many, many centuries ago, was an island. But now, as we can see, we're very much inland. Anyway, we're going to carry on this amazing tour with Fiona. You've just seen some photographs of us being locked in this cell here. And the lovely gentleman here, is it Mike?
Yeah.
Who's giving us a guided tour along with Fiona, said this was a cell from when?
1520 onwards.
1520 onwards. And if you can see in here, it ain't that big inside. So this is the cell and a gate just out the front, just out the front of the Abbey. And lovely Fiona's now going to, you know, I was just reading to you off the board over here about there being a skull that was returned. Fiona is going to take us to the skull. Let's head this way. behind the pulpit. Dear beloved, we are gathered here today. This place is amazing. If you come to Crowland, come to the Abbey. I think it's between 11 and 4 on weekdays. You get the most amazing tour. Mike and Fiona have been brilliant, and it's a good day. So before we leave, we've been very fortunate, as I say, and had a real private tour. This is the main part of Crowland Abbey. Very, very beautiful. Very beautiful. Some fabulous stained glass windows. But we're going to head off now. But I just checked back and I didn't actually video the bit by the front door with all the history. Not that I could find anyway. If I do find it, it might be in here twice. But yes, I'm going to go out the front once we've made our donation and film the history. Oh, that's one thing I meant to tell you. These are the bell ropes for the campanologists. And look at me, campanologist, bell ringing, I know. And they are the longest pull in England, I was told. They're 90 feet long. Because if you know anything about bell ringing, usually the ropes are up in a tower, but these come all the way down here, 90 feet. I've stood on the in the pulpit and tried to deliver a sermon. God, I tell you what, I feel powerful standing up there. But up here, right at the front of the church, up by this gorgeous stained glass window. Wow, look at this up here. Quite stunning. This apparently, there's one of these in every church to display the church's loyalty to the crown. And this is an original painting from 1770. Isn't that incredible? I mean, it's just hundreds of years old and it looks amazing. Anyway, we are definitely going to explore the rest of Crowland now, and I will find out who the skull is at the front if I missed it already. One last story before we go. We were asking Mike why you see these in lots of churches and it's always an eagle on top of an orb. And apparently the orb represents the earth and the eagle is the thing that can fly the highest and therefore get you closer to God. Anyway, wonderful time at Crowland Abbey. And we're going to head into town now because there's something called the Trinity Bridge which we have to go and see. So off we go. Here we are. I thought I'd videoed this at the start, but I've just realised I didn't. So this was the whole story of Crowland Abbey. So a monk named Guthlac, who I thought sounded like a foreign name, but apparently came from Derbyshire, came here, and at that point it was an island, and he lived as a hermit. But then came to the Abbey, and then various monks and blah 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 came, and it fell into disrepair. And yes, that was the other thing I wanted to tell you about. So you can read all this at your leisure if you freeze frame, but the church contains a skull which is identified as the 9th century abbot Theodore, who was killed while praying at the altar by Vikings, and he was stolen, but he's been returned, and you will now have seen him and heard his story. So we have now done at Crowland Abbey, and we're off for the rest of Crowland. So we've just come from the church and walked, literally the church is behind me. As you come down the road, there's this amazing bridge. It looks like it's sort of erupted out of the ground. It's called the Trinity Bridge, which at the moment I don't have the story of, but I assure you, once I've walked over it, I will research it. Being careful because it's raining and these stones have got moss on them, so I could well fall flat on my face and drop the camera. Yes, you're on the Trinity Bridge. And here we are, so it goes that way, and that way, and that way. Trinity, try, 3. There you go, I've worked that much out. And I've also been told, oh look, I was told there's a really fabulous bakery right by the Trinity Bridge. Where is it? Oh, there it is. Okay, so here we go. We have found the history of Trinity Bridge. So if you don't want to read through it all, mainly it was originally made of wood from 943, and this present bridge was from between 1360 and 1390. There's a seated figure under there, which I'll go back to in a minute and take a picture of, which could be Christ or it could be King Ethelbald, who is possibly from the front of the Abbey. And it used to be that the River Welland ran underneath this with its various tributaries and confluences. So this was a bridge over the river. But obviously now it's a bridge over nothing. But it is very, very cool and dates from the 14th century. Let's go and get a photo of that statue. And here is said statue that could be Christ or it could be the king. What did I say? Ethelbald? Ethelbad. I love this bridge, it's so cool. Anyway, we've been into the bakery and bought ourselves a Bakewell tart and a cookie dough Biscoff slice. And yeah, that concludes our tour of Crowland. It's a small town, but obviously the main thing is the Abbey and this bridge. But totally recommend a visit, and 100% recommend going to Crowland Abbey for the amazing tour, which was completely free, but obviously we put money in the donation box. So thank you, Crowland, and goodbye. Oh dear, that's a shame. I just came over to look at this, the old copper kettle, beautiful building. It's a tea shop, but it's up for sale. So if anyone wants to buy a tea shop in Crowland, you can buy one. There's a mini mart, there's a fish and chip shop, there's a spa, there's a couple of hairdressers, there's Chinese takeaway, there's obviously the bakery, and a couple of really nice pubs. So that concludes Crowland.